making high-end football boots.
What? What the f?
I know what you're thinking, and I was the same. But no matter what, Skechers mean business. But is the Skechers SKX a good boot? Does it deliver? Well, in today's video, I'll tell you what is good and also not so good about it to hopefully help you decide if you should give it a chance or not. And also, I'll tell you why this might as well have been called the Nike Phantom GT3 instead. Because as always, I'm JayMike, and this is my review of the Skechers SKX. Look, I get the skepticism. My brain didn't really associate Skechers with high-level football boots either. So I did a little bit of digging online to see what the deal was and why Skechers are so confident. And it turns out that Skechers woke up one morning and thought, let's go hard. Apparently, they've gotten in a few ex-Nike people who, amongst other things, worked on the Vapor 12s and 14s and the GS360 and also did development on a lot of important Nike technologies over the years. And honestly, you can easily tell. I mean, the heel tab, that little tongue sticker, is literally one-to-one. And there are just so many things that just scream Nike. And that can be a good or a bad thing, depending on how you see it. But no matter what, Skechers have spent big on getting in people who, on paper at least, really know what they're doing. That, however, also meant that my expectations went from admittedly being pretty low to actually expecting a good product. And to be fair to Skechers, the SKX here is a very solid first go. It comes with this so-called fit knit upper, which, yes, does sound and actually also feel quite a lot like Flyknit, which has this silicone coating on top with an embossed micro texture that still leaves it relatively soft and pliable out of the box. And of course, I mean, they are ex-Nike people after all. It comes in both a high and a low cut variation. Think Phantom GT in the sense that it has this very initial soft feel, very effortless feel around the foot, and in general, the Phantom GT is not a bad comparison, I would say. It has this relatively snug, almost sock-like sensation around the foot where it just follows the shape of your foot in this very, I would say, unhindered, but also close, natural way. The shape, however, is not very like the Phantom GT though. It feels a bit more anatomically correct and more foot-shaped, if you will. That also means that, for me at least, the SKX was just easy to step into and enjoy, especially because the knit just gets softer and softer the more you wear it. And it only took one wear for it to feel broken in. It's also a relatively premium feeling knit that just hugs the shape of your foot without giving you any pressure points. Then of course there is the heel shape, which is always important, which I think it's pretty good, albeit with a slightly low lock or fixation of the foot, at least to my taste. But it does do a pretty good job of giving you a secure fit without any indication of blisters forming. Now, as for the size, it does run a little bit long, I think, but not enough for me to go down half a size. So I went true to size with my usual Nike size, and I think it proved to be the right decision. As for the width, there's a good amount of width. It's not Phantom GT wide, but I think it will fit most people out there. And in general, I think the best way to describe it is, it feels like a more anatomical Phantom GT. To the point where if they had called it the Phantom GT3, I would probably have believed it. That of course also means that the touch in the SKX isn't a big surprise. It is relatively close on the ball because of the thin upper, but you also get a very evident texture on the ball where you do feel that there's a bit of friction and grip, but also without it not taking over too much or feeling too evident. Except of course for when you go on AG, where somehow it just feels really, really sticky. And I know that it might sound a little bit daft to call it an enhanced natural feel, but it does have this kind of barefoot with a little bit of grip on top vibe to it, where it doesn't really add too much mental noise. So it does give you that very usual expected feeling of knit, that very close sensation that just takes away the worst sting on the ball. And that's that little bit of confidence because of the texture. The outsole, of course, also reminds me a bit of Nike with its torsion bars and cutouts. But also, it just works.
The midfoot is on the stiffer side, which I actually like as a bit of a solid base, and the forefoot is flexible enough to not feel like a hindrance. Personally, I also like the shape of the studs, and while they're not necessarily overly aggressive, they offer enough grip while still also being pretty agile with sufficient levels of traction.
But of course, there is a but. So here are 4 annoying things that you also need to know about.
Now for me, the square toe box here might be very comfortable and feeling very natural, but at the same time it also leaves a little bit of dead space out here, meaning that the boot just felt slightly disconnected from the ball in that area. And I'd probably be willing to make a sacrifice and a trade-off of having a little less of an anatomical shape and a slightly closer feel to the ball. By the way, this chair, what is this? What? And the lockdown is okay, but I could have done with a little bit more of a structured, secure feel in the midfoot here when I'm changing direction. And I mean, you know, a soft knit upper is always nice, but not for lockdown. So that's not where the boot excels. And I know that I've used these boots on AG while filming this video, but still, these areas showing signs of wear and tear already, it's just a little bit too early for me and leaves me with a bit, I'm just a bit nervous right now. It's not a problem yet, but And then there is the price. Look, the SKX is actually a pretty good football boot, but the problem is that at this price point, there are many other really good football boot alternatives out there from brands that have bigger, better, more familiar names and brand images. So at this price point, realistically, who is going to buy the Skechers boot instead of the Nike, Adidas, Puma, New Balance, Mizuno offer? I mean, I don't really know. Now, for me, the price should just have been lower to make it more of a no-brainer decision to try it out, price quality-wise, to give it a chance and just kind of combat the whole brand prejudice that the SKX is gonna face. Fair or not, it's just the way it is.
And honestly, I think that might be a bigger challenge than Skechers might believe.
Look, in my book, the SKX is just a genuinely good football boot, and both from a fit and performance and comfort point of view, I just really enjoy them. And if it hadn't been for the S on the side, well, it could easily have fooled me into thinking that it was a Nike Phantom GT3. But here's the thing, even though that it is on par, quality-wise, with some of the other top boots out there, it's still a lot of money to pay for a pair of Skechers that don't really bring anything that innovative to the table. So it's a good boot, but is that enough in itself? I guess time will tell. But what do you guys think about the Skechers SKX? Let me know in the comment section right down below. And of course, if you want to give them a go, you can buy them in the link to Unisport right over there, but not of course before you've made sure you've subscribed to the channel with the notifications on. And with those words, I'll be signing off. Cheerio.